Back in the 80s, a horse trainer could think he was successful if he had an indoor arena. And man, I'd go to other people's houses and they had these indoor arenas and stuff, and I noticed a couple things right off the bat. Number one, in the wintertime, you know, it was great. You got to get out of the rain, kept it off you. But most of the time, it would rain almost as much inside the arena as it did out of it, because in the wintertime, it would condense and the water would drip down. And I thought, this is interesting. You know, what are they doing? They said, oh, the building's sweating. Then in the summertime, if the thing was closed up on the sides, then these things were hot boxes. And I found out most buildings were hot in the summer, hotter in the summer than it was outside, and colder and almost just as wet on the inside. And if it ever did rain, you couldn't talk to anybody because it's pounding on that metal roof. First time I saw a CoverAll building, I was up in Canada, and it was I think it was a 33 or 35 foot wide building, and a friend of mine had it. He had a little thing where he'd cut logs and made a little sawmill in there. And so I said, well, this is a neat little deal. And I was thinking, man, I could put a round corral in there. And he said, oh, this is a CoverAll building, and told me all about it. So I got the information, and well, by the time I got a hold of them, they had a 40-foot building, and then they had a 55. And then so that's what I bought, was a 55-foot wide building by 100-foot long. And I thought, man, this is the cat's meow. We moved to Colorado, put that up the first winter we were there. We've still got the building. Then, next thing I know, I started talking to some other folks, and so now they got a 75-foot building. And they now can go all the way up to 160-foot wide. We have a 110-foot wide building in Colorado as well. And my next one, that thing's going to be 140 or 160-foot, one of them big ones. The reason I like them is that they are they're the building of the future, and it's here today.
What I really like about the CoverAll is that you don't feel like you're inside a building. It's so light and airy, and from a teaching perspective, the acoustics are so good. There's no reverberation, there's no echo, and your voice carries really nicely, and yet everything else that's going on doesn't sound noisy. Most indoor arenas feel kind of dark and gloomy, and they're not very attractive, you know, unless people have put a lot of effort into making it look really good. I think the interesting thing about a CoverAll is that you don't really need lights in there unless you're going to be riding at night. And we even put up some fairy lights one time, and it just worked. It wasn't like bright light, but it was this beautiful ambiance because it reflected off the cover. I think they're the nicest kind of indoor arena to have.
When Linda and I bought our place in Pagosa Springs, Colorado, 7,500 foot elevation and 5, 6, and 10-foot snow depth. There's actually a picture downtown Pagosa Springs where it was 25 foot deep. First thing I thought of was, well, will these buildings withstand the snow? These things are made in Canada. They're made up in Saskatchewan, Saskatoon. They're made in snow country. I went up to Saskatoon one time, went in the building where they build them, and they have 160 foot wide. They've even got it insulated. They have a whole factory that I think it was 300, 400 feet long in there, maybe even longer. And they had this big building. They were building the buildings in the building. And just the technology today and what they're able to do is, to me, I think it's coolest thing since sliced bread. This is what I call my office. So when it came to having a special place for my special horses and my special passion, I could not think of a better product to have than CoverAll. It serves every purpose and everything that is congruent with my passion.